1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, welcome back to Country and Cold Cans. I'm Logan, sitting here with Kyle and Trucker Andy, and this week, very special guest, Mr. Rich O'Toole. How you doing, man?
Doing good. My house in Houston, so in the kitchen. This is like my favorite spot. I love to cook, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Did you cook tonight, or did you eat out?
I ate out tonight. I was late for a meeting, so I got a burrito. So yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook? I consider myself a cooker as well.
Yeah, I'm more like I treat it like painting. You know, like I like to paint. So it's like I'll just go to the store and just buy like protein and 2 vegetables, and I'll be like, all right, let's do something cool with this. You know?
Yeah, you're much more serious than me.
Yeah. You know, like I've done. You know, I'll go to the store and I'll see like a rack of lamb. Be like, all right, let's cook that. Or I'll see, you know, you'll be in there and you'll see something fun like a piece of halibut, and you'll just be like, let's blacken it and see what happens with this parsnips or something. I don't know. You just kind of play with it. It's kind of like painting for the stomach. You're just like, all right, this is a blast. Let's do it.
Yeah, I've become super sweaty because I got a Blackstone for Christmas.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, but just going hard on that thing.
That's like the hibachi thing, right?
Yeah, it's just like a big flap. It's so good, man, because all the like a grease, like on a grill or whatever, you know, all your burger, you know, all the flavoring just falls down in the fire. On a Blackstone, you know, it just sits there in its own grease and cooks, and it's, oh my God, it's so good.
That's like going to a Waffle House, man. Like,
yeah, right. I've been.
Do you have kids or anything? Do you cook for like
no,
all
I
your
don't.
kids?
No,
Okay.
I cook for the fiance.
Yeah.
I've been out there in the garage just watching YouTube videos on how to cook random shit on it and taking it way too seriously. It doesn't ever come out quite as pretty, but it takes fun working on it.
It's fine. I mean, my buddy has one of those, and I thought about getting one. Like you hook up to like propane, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool. I feel like I would use it way too much because I'm a giant like what's that place, Benihana? You know, like
yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm such a sucker for that. I can't get enough of that.
I tried to do the onion volcano thing and failed miserably. Failed miserably at it. It just didn't work. So
don't give up. No, I think
I want to do it.
You got to try it like 40 times. Or you got to practice it.
Yeah, I just envisioned myself, you know, the guy with the big tall white chef hat on.
Yeah,
I'm working on it, but most times, you know, I end up just cooking way too much food. But hey, it's all for a good time.
Well, that means next time I'm in
the Waffle House, yeah.
Yeah.
Next time I'm in town, Kyle, then we're not eating a cookout. You're gonna have to cook. You've just let out all your secrets.
I'm down with that. Hey, I'll make some hibachi or whatever.
Yeah, if I'm on tour, man, you got to bring it out to the bus or van or whatever. And we'll have it backstage and have a cook off.
Yeah, I got a pickup truck. I'll haul it up there.
Yeah, that's all.
we'll party out.
So. Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
It's funny, man, because like I just realized, like right when right before you came on the Zoom link, I was like, I saw something on Twitter. It said today is like National Chili Day, and I was like, of course, the day that we have Rich on the show is National Chili Day. I was like, the irony in that, because that wasn't planned at all. I was like, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on it because I know you get asked this all the time, but I do kind of want to know like the origin of how. You know, because it seems like, man, every time I'm on Twitter, somebody's tagging you in something about beans and chili. So, like, how did that even start?
I think it got so crazy that I think that like they put it on Yellowstone. The argument is like 2 years old. It started 2 years ago on Twitter. I'm from Texas, born and raised, and my dad's from Minnesota, and he has a chili recipe and it always has beans in it. And I've been to Texas, and I heard that, and like William Clark Green has a shirt, and like, you know, we played Chili Fest, and they have a cook off, and it's like no beans. So finally, I put my chili recipe up like 2 years ago, and I mean, it just started like you would have thought it was you would have thought it would have been a conversation about abortion or like war. It was like so insanely intense that I was like, oh my God. I'm going to keep poking the bear. Like, this is absolutely insane. So like, I just kept tweeting, and it just got so out of control where people were like, I don't think anyone sent me a death threat, but it got, I think it was like violence was involved in some of these tweets, like,
yeah,
or asking me to like, I'm not texting, or I should get the, can you cuss on here?
Oh yeah. Feel free.
yeah. Okay. Like, get the fuck out of Texas. I'm like, I'm born and raised from Texas, it's like, and then, I lived in New York for a year and I lived in LA for 4 years, just doing writing for like films and movies and stuff. And they're like, go back to LA, slur. And you're like, whoa, dude. I'm 38. I spent my first 29 years. I never even left the state, bro. Like,
right.
What are you talking about? And it's funny is like, there's so many Texans that do put beans in there, but yeah, it's some kind of like weird cowboy unwritten, like I'll kick your ass rule if you put beans in my chili. Like it's,
Well, I hate to tell them they're wrong. Beans do belong in chili, but
100% they do.
Yeah. I mean, and I've had it where like, that's the argument. I'm like, look, I love chili without beans. I just put it on spaghetti or hot dog topping.
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and eat it out of a bowl like an animal. It's all grease.
Yeah.
Like the bean falls apart and helps like soak up that grease and keeps it like edible. You know what I'm saying? Like keeps it on the cracker. Besides that, it's just like heartburn city. So I'm like, what are you talking about?
I mean, they grow a whole piece of is it produce? I reckon it is. It's called a chili bean.
Yeah.
But what else do you do with it? What else do you do with it other than put it in chili?
I think it's more of a San Antonio like Hispanic origin type thing because they call it chili con carne, which means like meat and chili. So back in the day, like on the ranch. But then the article came out. I don't know if y'all saw this like 3 weeks ago. This fight got so insane that Texas Monthly picked it up and they put like a guy on the case. And they were like a guy that like would research like dinosaurs or something. So like he went all the way back to like the 1500s with like the conquistadors, and they found like the original recipe and it had beans in it. So it's kind of like I won the argument that beans actually were first in chili. And then I think on the ranch, what happened was, the cowboy to cook a chili bean down, it takes like 7 hours to get it soft, right? Can't just bite out a can. So I think what they were doing is they had like meat, they had chilies, they would grind up the chilies, make it into a paste, then add it with the meat, and they called it chili. And then I think it's one of those things where, hey, this is chili now, and if you make it with beans, you're just an asshole. So it kind of like I don't even know what it is, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So you were vindicated.
Yeah, I know it was authentic. Yeah, it was. Hey, man, I think I won the war here. It turned into like almost personal now. Now it's like it's personal.
Yeah, it's like you can't back out now.
No, I'm like, let's go. I mean, it's gonna turn into like me like boxing someone in like a celebrity like chili match or something. It's gonna get like so out of control, or I get assassinated at a show by somebody. Like it's just. I can only imagine where it goes from here, but yeah.
And I'm guessing even though you won the war, they're still trying to run you out of the state for putting beans in chili. Yeah. They just don't care that you're right.
I think people are now like, so my buddy is like a big anti-chili. He owns a restaurant here in town, and tomorrow he's making O'Toole chili on the menu, and it has beans in it. And he's like, well, let's just see if anyone shows up. I'm like, I think people will show up, man. I mean, people like chili and beans in their chili, so.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's one of the things I do admire about Texans, but at the same time, like it's funny to me how stubborn a lot of Texans are about the beans and chili thing because like literally everywhere outside of Texas, it's like beans and chili.
Anywhere outside the state, yeah, even
seriously. But no,
a lot of Texans. I mean, Texans is made up of a lot of Germans. It's made up from a lot of people from Poland. They're all immigrants. So I think they all have the recipe. So I don't know why these people think that beans wouldn't go in chili, but hey, look, I understand. I get it. It's either your family did it with beans or they didn't. And like, you just don't mess up. It's like the same people that open gifts on Christmas morning versus like Christmas Eve. It's the same thing. It's like you follow your family's like rules and, someone disagrees with it. It's like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like when people when they get married and then their Christmas traditions are so vastly different. And it's like, and then you're like, well, this isn't Christmas, but it's I get that. But no, I had to ask that because I've been wondering about like what the origin behind that was because I know that on Twitter like it's just kind of become its own thing. And I guess my last question on the chili thing would be like, do did you ever think that it would get to be this big on Twitter with your followers? And does it ever sometimes you're kind of like, hey, I mean, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's
for people tagging you all the time.
Into it like a couple months ago, I said, "Hey, this is my last tweet about this," but then it's just not, because then I'll see a comment and then I'm like, okay, I can't not retweet this, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a never-ending song. Like, I don't think this will be. I'll have to put it on my gravestone. Like, hopefully I make it to like my 70s, and on my gravestone it's like "add beans." It's all it fucking says on that. You know, like it'll just become like, it won't die until I die. So.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So one thing we wanted to start off with once we shifted away from the beans talk is you have a new single out, Low Hanging Fruit. Yeah, man. I've been digging that one because it's like, get you to talk about that for a little bit, but it's like, for me, it's almost like it's kind of like a not so biting, but kind of an indictment about like the country music industry, like the different areas of country music, not like one in particular, but just kind of like the industry as a whole in some ways.
Yeah, but for sure. You know, I bought a house in Nashville, you know, 2 months before the pandemic hit. I bought this, like, my dream home, and I went to work. Not really work. I've never even had a real job. Thank God. It's not because there's always like these things. It's like rich is like a trust fund. No, my mom and dad, we grew up really poor on the west side of Houston. And it was a thing where, you know, I was so lucky when I left, when I graduated from A&M, that we had somewhat of a following, and I could make a decent living, you know, living off of, you know, tip jars and like $300 or $400 acoustic gigs. To pay rent. But that being said, like, so I was in Nashville, I was working for Average Joe's because they gave me a record deal, and they said, well, hey, why don't you start your own Texas label, and we'll sign people like that are in Nashville from Texas, or go down to Texas and sign with Nashville. And, you know, it was during the pandemic, and it was like one of those things where I was going out all the time, especially when I was like drinking. Like I went out 7 nights a week, and I would it got to a point where, you know, the Low Hanging Fruit song is not hating on Nashville. It's just hating on these like guys that move there that just want to be famous. Like,
right.
It's not about the music to them. It's just about the game. And to me, it's about the music. I mean, it's like, I'm in this to be a songwriter. I'm in it to be a guy, put on a great show. And the show is about my songs. It just happens that the show is good. Not the show's good. These guys that are there, they'll go and, you know, buy a expensive cowboy hat and tight jeans and all this BS, and they'll get up and just play the game, and they'll make their little TikTok videos and make their little Instagram videos and all their BS. And look, I wear skinny jeans. I wear cool cowboy hats. I do all that shit too. I wear cool boots. I don't play that game, and Nashville plays that game. And it's like, to me, it's like, we're so tired of that. And that's what really that song was. It was just a frustration of when I left Nashville to move back to Texas, the frustration of like these people that come there. And I understand females, like the females in country music are, you know, far in between. Miranda Lambert's real, you know, Caitlin Butts, like there's a real female artist, but like 90% of them, they kind of go up there and it's like, I'm hot. My dad's paying for
right.
it. I can kind of sing. I totally get that. But when a guy's doing it, there's like more responsibility to like be more like Steve Earle and less like, you know, Florida Georgia Line or something. I'm not putting those guys down. They're cool dudes. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's just like, hey, stop trying to be famous. Just try to write great stuff. And if you write great stuff, you will become famous, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of what that song, I'm sorry, I'm like talking here, but that's what that song's about, is like just not hating on Nashville. It's hating on the dudes that move there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, God, stop moving here to do this.
Yeah. It's like chasing social media clout. Cause like you said, there's a line in the song, like TikTok for curb appeal. Like that kind of really sums it up, what some folks that get into the industry, it's all about. But it's like the one guy that's made it really big in Nashville that I think has probably navigated the system the best, I've always said, as a dude I've been a fan of since I was a little kid, is Dierks Bentley. He's been able to balance like the, you know, the art and the commerce and be able to play the game, but it's still at the same time have songs that actually say something.
100%. My buddy bought a house in Telluride, and so I get to see Dierks every now and again. And then when we're up there, and that's one of the best examples. And Dierks loves the Texas scene so much that like Cody Canada named his first son after Dierks. And Dierks was opening for Ragweed when they were first coming out, and Dierks loved Texas music, and he just found a way to make both of it work, like be in the machine, but also do it. But I think that he struggled being that real too, because there was the time when Dierks really wasn't selling tickets, and they probably wanted him to come out with a sellout single, which I think he's kind of flirted with when like Drunk on a Plane. He probably didn't want to do that, but did it because the label's like, look, dude, we need that Rascal Flatts sellout single,
right?
So we can fill stadiums, and so Dierks has really played the game probably better than anyone in that town. And that, what's funny is I used to walk to the coffee shop by my house, and Dierks would be there with his laptop with every other Vanderbilt sorority girl, and everyone would leave him alone. And he was just typing away. And this is like a year ago. This is when he's like gigantic.
Oh, wow.
So like that dude deserves everything he did. He's a hard worker and, really did it the right way. So that's a really good example,
Yeah. I've always like seen him kind of like be more involved with the Texas scene than the average Nashville guy. Cause I think he wasn't he in the Kevin Fowler music video for Hell Yeah, I Like Beer? I want to say he was.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he was.
Yeah,
but
I would like to agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think that's right. I can't remember, so don't quote me on it.
Not 100% sure either, though.
Yeah, but so with you being in, I guess for lack of like me not being able to classify it better, like coming within the Texas scene, like how different is that versus like the Nashville kind of machine, so to speak?
It has its problems too. It has its beefs. It has its anger. It has its jealousy. There's only so many people that can get on so many festivals, so many club gigs. There's only so much money to go around. So, I mean, it has its problems as well, but it's real, and you're going to get called out. You're not going to be able to drop a single. And I get called out sometimes. Even, I developed a lot of haters early on because I was releasing songs like Drunk Girl and songs that kind of sounded like Nashville because, 10 years ago, there was a part of me that was a little bit vain, that wanted that fame, that wanted to be, a superstar and stuff. So I kind of flirted with that line. So one thing about Texas is like, you're not going to get away with it. In Texas country, if you come out with like, Girl, Shake It For Me or something, you show up to a club, someone's going to go, hey, dude, that's the worst song I've ever heard. I don't care if it's making money or not. It's just not going to work down here. Pack it up. It'd be like if you went to like a honky tonk and I showed up with like one of those big foam cowboy hats, right? And like a big like air horns, like, yeah, I'm a cowboy. They'd be like, no, take that shit off, man, get out of here.
You get your ass beat.
Get your ass kicked real quick. And I mean, that's Texas. That's why I said in Low Hanging Fruit, it says that when you're in Texas, you shut your mouth. It's like if you come down here and tour and you're in Nashville, be very courteous, talk good about the scene, and then get the hell out.
Yeah,
because they do well. Like I mean. They sell out. They sell more tickets. The big Nashville guys sell more tickets than the Texas country guys, unless you're, Cody Johnson or maybe Randy. But other than that, like, Aldean will come down and sell out, amphitheaters, Dierks will sell out. Texas people love Nashville country. It's just don't come down here and like trash it,
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't like compare it like don't like trash it and say it's like the minor leagues or anything because it's a different, in my opinion, better style of country. Because I'll be honest, I like some stuff in Nashville. Like we're not as hardcore of a podcast as some of our people that are in the same space as us. We're like Andy and I are like we're big fans of people like Hardy and some of the younger kind of more, as we like to call them, the frat pack kind of guys that are around our age, like late 20s, early 30s dudes. Like we like their music. But at the same time, like we still are big fans of like the independent stuff in Texas. And, I think that this is me not being disparaging towards like the Americana crowd, but like Americana sometimes gets a little bit too in their own head where they think everything they don't want to ever have any songs that are just fun. You know what I mean? There's a balance, I think, with music that sometimes the artsy Americana side doesn't always get that aspect of it.
Yeah. And, I'm not an Americana as much. And I talk about that in the song too. I said Americana is the truth, and it really is. I'm a giant Jason Isbell fan, but I don't think our shows would ever work together. I'm a gigantic Jamie Lynn Wilson fan. I'm a giant, Hayes Carl and, Americana fan. But like Americana is like the emo chick at the lunch table where you're like, I totally get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. You know, Manson rocks or whatever, and like you got the makeup and you look awesome, but like, why? You know, why are you so mad? Why are you so sad all the time? You know, like throw in an upbeat song every now and then, but they won't. You know,
yeah,
they're sticking it to the man. I mean, that's why I said Americana's the truth is they really are just like the last people to stick it to the man. They're not going to write a pop song. They're not going to write for a label. They're just an emo chick that just is going to sing at their shoes and just tell you how it is. And you're like, yep, I get it.
Yeah. You're not wrong at all. Like I'm a big fan of all those folks you mentioned. Like I think Isbell is arguably one of, if not the best, but one of the top 3 writers of his generation. And so it's like I love their music. It's just at the same time as like what I think I admire about the Texas music scene is you have the really sometimes heavy but good songwriting, but at the same time they've got some fun songs that are great live where you can just kind of like hold a beer up to and be like, this is a good time.
Yeah, if you're, that's the thing is if you come to one of my shows, like I sing 5 or 6 serious songs in the set. The rest are a lot of like upbeat, fun songs, man. People had a hard day. It's Friday night. I don't want to hear about, the same Americana song. And, it's like, dude, I'm already sad all week anyways. So, no, I get it. And that's how they are. Like, they don't want to be famous. Like, it's almost like you'd piss off the first way to piss off someone in Americana is make them really famous.
Yeah.
Like call an Americana artist and be like, we're going to put you on tour with the Eagles. They'd be like, whoa. I wasn't trying to be, look, I'm cool with just playing to 30 people a night, man. Like, I got my hat. I got my guitar. Like, I don't, that's like I think that's their kryptonite is fame.
Yeah. It's like it's like the new punk rock in some ways.
Right. But then I'll see all the Americana writers and all the Americana DJs will sit there and just trash Nashville, trash Red Dirt, trash Texas country because they're like, well, Rascal Flatts can sell out a stadium. Then why isn't Sturgill Simpson sell out a stadium? And it's like, man, Sturgill was happy with probably, doing 3,000 tickets a night at Red Rocks. I don't think he wanted to do that. He doesn't want to put on the glitter. There's ballet dancers and there's strippers. Like you gotta pick what you want to do, man. So
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, it is.
The hardcore Americana fans are like the same way too. One artist can make 30 amazing songs in a row. They make one song somewhat mainstream. They want to kick them out. It's like, look, man, I just want to make a couple bucks. And they just do not care.
Yeah. I have a bunch of friends in Americana and they'll send me songs. I'll be like, don't release that, dude. You're going to get kicked the fuck out of your genre.
Yeah.
They say to me, like the first way to piss off an Americana fan is say that you like Rich O'Toole. They're like, oh, that guy, he's so Red Dirt country. Like he's so Texas. Yeah. It's like, I don't even know. It's like, I'm a good hamburger, but they want something so fucking weird that they're like, it has to be from this exotic farm in New Zealand. That has to be this farmer had
organically
to grown. Yeah, it's like like Rich O'Toole. It's like all American hamburger. What's wrong with that? And that's kind of what I pride myself is right down the middle. I'm not I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so. I think the one thing I've always liked about your music is where it kind of speaks to people like me, and it's like it's my favorite type of sound. Like your music is obviously country, but at the same time, it has kind of like some definitely some like rock and roll influences. And I think that's like in my mind, that's like the perfect marriage when you come to like the sound of a song, and that's why I think I've always been like a big fan of yours and I think that's something Texas does really well is combining those two things because you can do both and do them well and still have something to say.
Yeah, no, and that's like what I tell people. Ask me all the time. They're like, your music's so different. How do you describe it? I was like, look, I'm a giant Gin Blossoms fan, but I'm also a giant Brooks and Dunn fan. Yeah. So it's kind of like Brooks and Dunn had a kid with the Gin Blossoms. They're like, that is so weird. I was like, I know, man. I can't help that. It's gonna sound like it's gonna sound like Brooks and Dunn are singing over the Gin Blossoms, and that's just what I love. I love that about that, and I'm going to keep making Rich O'Toole records, and it's always going to sound like that. But I like that. It's like I don't want to bite into a banana in 15 years and be like, "Whoa, what is this? This tastes like cotton candy. What the fuck is this?" And so it's like you're going to get exactly what you're going to get with me. I try sometimes to go a little weird or sometimes go a little more country, but mostly it's, what is in my head, and that's what the mixture is. Yeah.
Your stuff does a good job with that too, like lyrically wise too, because you got stuff like Marijuana and Jalapenos, and then like January 21st, straight up sad boy music.
Yeah, and I try to add January 21st, so like Urban Disgrace, or like all my like, cut your wrist music in the set, and it just doesn't work. People like go use the restroom. I'm like, well, fuck, man, they're paying. It's like being a chef and being like, this is cow's liver. Be like, no one wants that.
Yeah. I saw a lot of that. So like, me being, I've been living in Raleigh, North Carolina for about a decade now. And, so naturally when I moved here, I discovered like American Aquarium. And like, I don't know if you've ever seen their live show, but they're great. Like a great live band, but it's funny because like you can tell the hardcore AA fans versus like the newer fans, because most of their show is pretty up tempo and pretty rock and roll, but BJ definitely has a affinity for like, the really sad, well written tear jerkers, and he tries to play some of those in concerts. And when the newer fans are there, like they were at Road Trip Raleigh this past year, it's like you get a lot of people almost getting in fights in the crowd because the old fans are telling them to shut the fuck up, and the new fans are just like, where's the guitars at? Like they're just being obnoxious in the background.
No, I'm scared of American Aquarium fans. I think BJ is like I almost call him like a maestro. Like he really conducts his show really well. There's a lot of, like a lot of times when we write set lists, we try to start, like I do this, I go, the first 3 songs are really upbeat. Then I bring it down. It's like the cricket song, and it goes really upbeat. Then I bring it down. I try to do 4 hills and 4 valleys. The hill being this, and then straight down like a roller coaster, then straight back up. And BJ does a really, really great job at that. But when I said like scared of American Aquarium fans, is they're so die hard, and BJ I think has got his fan base so tuned in that you just don't mess with that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. You sit there and shut up and like listen to him. I mean, that's
exactly.
He's one of the most talented guys I've ever seen, and like he's got it really dialed in, and he's great. He's a great writer.
Yeah. I mean, he even sells a t-shirt that says, shut up and listen to BJ Barham.
Yeah. And I love that he goes on, like, my social media is way out of control, and we'll get into that in a second. But like, he'll fight. No one knows where I stand politically, and no one ever will.
Yeah. Everyone knows where he stands.
Everyone knows where he stands.
It's not a question.
No, everyone.
And I'm like, dude, this guy's just not scared of not selling tickets, but people show up, man. It's like, good for you, dude. Good for you.
Yeah.
You got a backbone. I don't have a backbone. I'm playing for the governor on Tuesday, and he's paying me a bunch of money to be there. And I get a lot of shit for that because it's like half my crowd likes them, half doesn't. I say, hey, look, man, I got to pay mortgage, and I got a car note, and like, I got to do what I got to do. I'm a musician. I was on the phone. Yeah. I was on the phone with Ray Wally Hubbard today. And we were talking about that. I was like, dude, I'm for hire, man. I'm a clown that juggles. Like, just because your birthday party is Republican or Democrat, I'm still going to show up and juggle. Like, well, why do I give a shit?
Exactly.
Money's the
that's
same
the hardest
color.
problem. Yeah.
Doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
didn't we talk about it on the show?
That's what I was about to say.
We did.
Yeah, I think we did. I think that Kyle, I think that a few episodes ago, it was the episode we lost because because Carter's our buddy was on the show with us, and his audio just was fucked up. But so we couldn't ever release it. But we actually talked about the ridiculous reactions some people on Twitter gave to you when they saw you play at a Greg Abbott event. Or I don't even know if it was an Abbott event, but he just happened to be there. But like, we were just like, dude, like, why are people so upset about this? Because I have artists that I listen to that I agree with politically, and some that I disagree with vehemently. I still listen to the music because if I like the art, I'm going to listen to the art. I just don't know why people let that get in the way of having a good time and consuming music that's good music.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Lee Greenwood disagrees with all sorts of political stuff, but everybody plays his music at political rallies.
How great would it be if like Lee Greenwood came out as like trans or something? Like, it'd be so amazing. Everyone would be like so upset.
Yeah,
be like, what from the lakes of Minnesota? It's like, what?
He's at a Bernie Sanders rally. Bernie Sanders isn't allowed to use my music.
It's like he's singing about America. It doesn't mean it's your version of America. It is America. And that's the funniest thing about America is like, I keep my mouth shut, but I will say this: like, everyone has a right to choose, and everyone has a right for what they believe in.
Yeah.
And that's their right. You know, one thing that we're doing in America right now is we're taking everyone's rights away, because it's like like if someone said, look, I do not believe this at all. But if someone said like, you know, like I think the Confederate flag's stupid. I have a lot of African-American friends and it really insults them. And I would never be caught dead. I played a venue 2 years ago and they had one there, and I just asked the owner to take it down while I was on stage, you know? But I will say this, like, one thing about America is if you want to be gay and marry a parrot, you're totally allowed to do that, man. If you want to fly a Confederate flag at your house because you think that your great uncle would have loved that and that's your heritage or whatever, you know what? You have every right actually to believe that too. You have the one thing about America that I love is you have the right to kill yourself by overeating. You have the right to do whatever you want to do. And we can't tell you no. And that's the whole thing that's going on in our society is you have so many people going, we need to fight for this right, this right, this right, this right, this right. And then you have the right going, well, I believe this, 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 and this. And they're like, you're fucking wrong. And it's like, they're not wrong and you're not wrong. Yeah. This is America. You're allowed to be free and do whatever you want to do. That's why I don't say anything about politics, because it doesn't matter. It's not my choice to tell anyone that believes in my music what they should believe in. That's not my choice. That doesn't, you know, it's not my choice to do that. It's your choice. You can choose to do whatever you want.
It reminds me, a couple of years ago, my sister was watching some show on TLC where some woman married herself. And I was like, only in America could you get probably $1 million TV deal so you can marry yourself. And then I saw like a couple months ago that she's divorcing herself because she found love and she was in an affair against herself or some fucking crazy shit like that. I'm just, or, you know, that one woman who married a wall or some crazy shit. And I'm like, only in America could this be on TV. And people
that shit doesn't really, like, I love Europe. Have y'all spent any time in Europe?
I have not.
I haven't, no.
Nope.
A lot of that I've been to Italy like 6 or 7 times. We actually played over there 3 or 4 times, and like France and stuff like that. They don't put up a lot of bullshit like that over there. It's kind of still old school. It's kind of like some, you know, if you said that an old grandma would come over and hit you in the head with with a rolling pin, you know, and that's what kind of makes America great is. Not really giving a fuck, you know.
100%.
Go to Walmart.
There's a website dedicated to people of Walmart.
Yeah. If you want to wear a trash bag as a skirt, like, and be 700 pounds, like you can do it, man.
Yeah.
I swear to God, like America invented like diabetes and all that. Like we invented it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're amazing that we invented like the most insane diseases. I couldn't get it when I was in Italy. I couldn't get a Dr. Pepper to save my life. And if I ordered more than one, they looked at me like I was crazy.
We have a girl at my work who is originally from England, and she said when she moved over here, the craziest thing that she had ever seen was a 44-ounce soda was cheaper than the small. She was, what the hell? You know, you get the ultimate big gulp, and it's like 69 cents, and the little 20 ounce is like $1.29.
I know it gets when we're on the road touring, that really actually gets annoying because I asked for the smallest cup possible, and the small is still 20 ounces because it doesn't like fit in the cup holder. If you're in the van or you're in the tour bus, it's hard to have a 64-ounce like thing without it's sloshing around and. It's like, I don't want that big. They're like, well, sir, it's only 19 more cents. It's like, I don't want it, dude. I will pay $5 for the small. Okay. I just want it. Like, can you cut it in half? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. We do have, it is probably the only places like that. And like, I'm very guilty of having a lot of like, I've switched to like sugar-free drinks, but still even sugar-free soft drinks are still probably not good for me in the long run.
No. Yeah. I'm in on that. I drink like 4 Diet Cokes a day, and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
I'm a guy of excess, man. Like we'll get into that in a second. I recently like had a big relapse with like alcohol, and I just fucking love red wine. Man, I posted a video on my social media. Like I think it was Saturday. One of my friends died on a Thursday. So I just got to drinking, man. And by Saturday, I was like blackout drunk, and I fucking turned on my camera to like Twitter, and I was like, I fucking love everyone. I was like crying and shit. And you know, it was a thing where it's like America taught me, especially being in college, taught me to abuse alcohol. It really did. Like that's all you see on Barstool Sports. That's all you see on anything is like, how many beers can I put in my body? How much wine can I put in my body? It's cool to like try to kill yourself in America. It really is. I mean, this is what really downhill, but it's like, it's really cool to jump up like a 20-story like semi or like a 20-foot semi onto a white table and break it and just like break your neck at a football game. It's cool to consume 40 beers in one night. Like that's a cool thing to do. It's like, dude, your organs can shut the fuck down with that.
It's not sustainable long term. I mean, the three of us have talked about that in the past because like we're all like around 28, so it's like we're at that point now where you know how in college like it's a lot of binge drinking, like you know that's what people do. It's like you know you go out all the time, you're probably going out 3-4 nights a week some weeks, and then it's like you know it kind of continues a little bit like first couple years out, but like now we're kind of where we're at now. It's like hardly nobody drinks much anymore. It's like you still have your days where you get after it when you and the boys are hanging out at like a football game or something, but you're right though, it's like it does seem like that in America, especially like with college culture and everything, like it is a poison that we're putting in our body, and you can only do it a lot for so long before it becomes detrimental to your health long term.
Mm-hmm. And even short term, I mean, like we rushed my buddy in college to the hospital, and like he was on like life support because he drank like 41 drinks. And it's really not, this is like one thing that like people don't know. It's not your liver that you should worry about. Your liver actually, you can cut your liver in half and it's the only organ in your body that will actually grow back.
Oh, wow.
Like if you cut your arm in half, it's not growing back. Cut anything in half, it won't go back. The liver will. You're not going to die of liver failure until you're like 50 or 60. And that's even if you're drinking like a bottle of liquor a day. It's your pancreas. Yeah, it's not your liver you got to worry about. It's your pancreas that you really should worry about when you're young. And we don't teach kids like really how to drink, you know, even on tour. I mean, it was just fun to get like fucked up all the time. And that's kind of what like, you know, with COVID for me, all of a sudden I couldn't tour for a year and a half. I blew through all my savings. I never suffered from depression. I always had a lot of anxiety, but I was fine. I had a couple beers before I go on stage. It was no big deal. I never really had an alcohol problem. But I'll tell you what, like during COVID, it just got to the point where I'm not making any money. I'm blowing through my savings. I mean, I probably blew through $90,000 to $100,000 of savings that I had from touring over the past 10 years and spent that all in a year and a half because I'm so bored. I'm not making any money. Got to pay mortgage, got to pay car payment. No money's coming in. So yeah, I'm drinking 2 bottles of wine a day. Because, you know, at around 11:30 or noon, my girlfriend would come over and we'd open wine and I'd cook pork chops. And by midnight, we're on bottle 4 or 5 naked in the kitchen, just fucking crazy, you know? And that was every single day for a year and a half. You can imagine where one day I had to wake up going, okay, I'm an alcoholic. This is no longer fun. This is like, I need it for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it got sad for me, just to like fill y'all in. Was like I had to. So, you know, I'm sober now since last Saturday, but now it's like I have to take it really seriously because like now I really do see it as more medicine than I do see it as fun, you know. And then COVID just put me in that situation. And I think it put a lot of musicians in that situation, especially a lot of people in the Texas country scene that I've been talking to. They're all in kind of investigating going to rehab or investigating their alcoholism because it shut us down. It ended our businesses for almost 2 years. And we were so used to like always being on the road. And usually on the road, you're not drinking as much as you think because you have sound check, you go to the hotel and you're driving. So you're not really like drinking during the day. You're busy, you know? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the thing where, you know, it just got the best of me. Then I really started like acting out. It was more a thing where I would go to dinner, I'd be an asshole or I'd be sarcastic. And I consider myself a smart guy. And, you know, when people like that get drunk, they're smart asses, you know. I would tell a girl or her shirt looks like shit, shit like that, where this wasn't a character for me being a nice individual. So it was like, you know what? I think this thing's like really, hey, look, in 4 or 5 years, we'll have a share a glass of wine. My wife, yeah, probably. I don't know. But right now it's like, I really got to focus on getting my company back and putting out another record and getting to a level where we're actually making money and turning a profit, because, COVID shut us down, and just having alcohol in that equation, like, it's just not going to work. And that's kind of what I said that video out. Yeah.
It's one of like the most dangerous things that can happen to somebody is like losing their purpose. And I would guess like not being able to tour and all that stuff is almost kind of to an extent losing your purpose.
100% it was. And it was, I never had depression. I was depressed. I mean, my mom, like, she came over on Sunday, and she never comes to my house, and she's at my front door, and I was like, oh, fuck. And she was like, dude, you got to get happy again. You're just not happy. You got to go back to like, 2014 Rich, and like where you're like so excited to go on tour. Because I've been doing some tour dates, and she's like, you're just not, I see you on stage, you're not happy to be there. You're just trying to get drunk. You just are, on the microphone telling people to shut the fuck up, And the thing was, like, I wasn't happy. And that's kind of where I'm excited to really get back out there and like get happy again. And I think that my depression will go away. I think my anxiety will go away when I feel like I do have a purpose. So I think you kind of nailed it on that, is once I find I have a purpose again, and once I find, that the band keeps growing, because, I just turned 38. So like, I guess I'm old because now there's like 21-year-old TikTokers that are famous, but I don't consider myself old in Texas country. Texas country guys like Robert O'Keen and, Randy Rogers and those guys are, 10 years older than I. So I still have I feel like I still have a good 10, 15 year career left to really put out 5 or 6 more really great records and tour and put on some good shows. So you kind of nailed it there. And I think that's kind of what I have to focus on. And, I think with alcohol, it's just no way to, and it's one of those things where I could stop at like 2 or 3, but why do it? Why feel that over in the morning? Why not just jog and get in shape again and fall in love with your music and get up early and try to do it for your fans? So that was kind of the background of it, So.
Yeah, it's one thing that I've heard BJ Barnum say before, that it's like you've never heard anyone say they got sober and their life went to shit. You know what I mean? It's like normally it's like the other way around. Because while like, don't get me wrong, like the 3 of us like to have a good time, and we've had some good times, when we're all hanging out. But at the same time, there is an inflection point where it becomes too much and it starts to control. And when you're not the one in control and it's in control, I mean, you're 100% right. That's where like things start to go bad, and it puts you in a bad mental space. And like mental health is something that I personally don't think that in the past that the country has talked about enough, because it is something that's very real. I mean, like I've been someone that too, like there have been times in my life where I've battled with depression when I was a child, and that's like, it's like being an alcoholic. It's not something that ever really leaves you. Like you may be a recovering alcoholic, but at the end of the day, you're still fighting it. Whereas like dealing with mental health stuff, it's kind of the same thing. So it's like, I think it's, I'm glad to hear, like, like you said, like you taking it where you're like, this is what needs to happen. Cause that's the first step, as is like trying to, with any, whether it's depression or like substance abuse or anything, is like having to identify. And then you can, once you know it's there, then you can tackle it.
Yeah, it's also funny too. It's like they say it's like 1 in 4, and for me, like I had to ask a lot of people. Even I had to ask my mom. I took her to where we go for Christmas, Jacksonville, Wyoming, and she was like, "You had 3 mimosas at breakfast." I was like, "I kind of have to because we're about to go skiing, and I have anxiety." And she's like, you were fine last night. Me and you split a bottle of wine. You're fine." I was like, "See, your brain can have 3 glasses of wine, wake up and have coffee and not have to have alcohol again. My brain, the way it works is if I drink more than 1, like if I have 2 or 3, which is not even a lot for me, I'm 207 pounds, 6'1", bigger dude. My brain in around 10 in the morning has to have alcohol in it or it starts to kind of freak out. And that's just the way that a lot of alcoholics are made. Was there's nothing really wrong with them. And it's not like they overdrink sometimes. It's more of a disease where your brain has to have that medicine in it again. And it's like a bad swap meet or like a 1 for 3 deal. Like I could go out with the boys, have 14, but I can't work for the next 3 days. Well, how am I make a living if that's the case?
Right.
And I could, it's like I could do it. I won't name names of people that do it. And you have to retox to do it, which sucks, and it makes you feel like crap and your stomach's always hurting and you get ulcers. And it's one of those things where like it gets old because you're on tour and like, I'll jog for like 4 days straight. Won't have any alcohol. Our first tour date's Thursday night. Well, no alcohol at the show. Have a couple beers before I go on stage. All of a sudden it's a great show. Afterwards, owner buys me a shot. End up having like 7 drinks, Thursday night. Friday morning, I'm freaking out. I wake up in the morning and, wake up usually around 7 a.m. and I'm kind of like, ooh, I have a lot of anxiety. Like, kind of need a drink again. And like, that's just something that some people have in their brain where it's a very addictive personality. And I'm like that with food. I'm like that with everything. And so with alcohol, it wasn't like, I never punched anybody. I never went to jail. I never got DWI. I never hit a woman. I always treat women very nice. Never did anything wrong except for the fact that like that chemical imbalance did get my brain and I was paralyzed. And I was only paralyzed until I got the alcohol back in my system. And I could have kept that up for 10 more years. I don't think anyone would have known. I flew with my manager, Amy. She was like, I'm with you all. Like the last 2 weeks, she was like, with you all the time. You were fine. You had drinks. You were the most sober guy there. I was like, yeah, but see, their brain doesn't tell them in the morning they have to drink again. They're fine. They can go to work and have a cup of coffee and be fine. I can't do that. So it was like breaking up with a bad girlfriend. That's kind of what I was saying in my video. And when I was kind of like tearing up and crying a little bit, and I posted it was like breaking up with red wine is probably one of the hardest things I'll ever have to do because I love it. It's like everyone's done it. We've all dated that girl that is so good in bed. Sorry, did my thing go off?
No, you're good.
That is so good in bed. But she's a toxic, a terrible mother and a terrible wife, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to give this up. You're so good in bed, but like, fuck, I'm sorry we got to break up. This is not going to end well. I'm going to end up on Cops or something. Like, I don't so, that's what it is, man. And a lot of people have that disease, and that's why a lot of people, and there's a lot of people in our scene that do need help. They're not admitting it, and they just continue to drink, and they'll probably die in their 50s or 60s, and that shit'll be sad. But I don't want to die in my 50s and 60s. I'm 38. I never really, I want to settle down soon and have kids. I don't want to be a joke. I want to make great records. And like, it's just not going to work if I'm always faking it or phoning it in. So that's kind of the decision I have to make, And it sucks. It really does suck. I think about it. I get depressed like, an hour a day. Cause usually I'm, by 7 o'clock, I'll go to Whole Foods, buy like a cool, like lamb shank, come home and like roast in the oven. I'll be a bottle of deeper red wine, listening to fucking Bob Seger. And I'm just in the zone. And now I come home and I'm like, I'll make a salad and turn on Netflix. Like, this sucks. But tomorrow morning I'll be up at 8 a.m. emailing my agent and working on new songs where I wouldn't usually wake up till 11 and not give a shit until I got to drink again around 6 or 7. So the trade-off is like, what do you want to do? Eventually go broke and be a joke, or get your shit together and actually have a career? And, it's one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Sorry, I feel like I talked about that a little too long, but that's just kind of what it is. Yeah.
No, man. I totally agree with you because like you said, you want to recapture the passion, like when it comes to like music and everything. You don't want to just be going through the motions because, like, a lot of times when people are going through the motions with things, you don't get your best work. And like I gotta say, I told you this last time I spoke with you. Like, I'm not saying this because you're sitting here and I'm trying to blow smoke up your ass or any shit like that. Like, your record in 2020 in New York was one of my favorite top 5 records of 2020. I was a big fan of that. And so like, I'm excited to at the prospect of new music coming out, because I think, what have you got, 2 new singles out? The latest one, Low Hanging Fruit, and then 17 Wild Horses, right?
Right. And we have a third one that's coming out called Love on a Sunday. That'll be out on the 1st of May. that'll be like one of my best songs. It reminds me of like John Mayer meets Texas Country.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. Bear's alley.
Yeah. I get roasted by these two because I'm a big Mayer fan, and they just will not give him. They won't give him a chance.
No, I'll tell you a story where you'll love John Mayer for this. Like, I lived in LA for 4 years, and that's really where I got my degree in partying, because there's like partying and then there's like people in LA that party,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like they stay up for 3 days just doing cocaine. And you're like, holy shit, this is next level.
You people are crazy.
I dated a girl that like dated John Mayer for a hot second. And she's like, yeah, we went to his apartment and we're like making out on his couch, and he got up, went over and played his own record, and then came back and was like making out to his own album. And I was like, all right,
that's some
guy. You either you're a total psychopath or you're just hilarious. And I think he's hilarious. Man.
I think he is.
He went sober 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago. He had to make that decision too.
Yeah,
the same decision I had to make, because he was like, look, yeah.
I think that's also like a reason why like he moved out. I think it was like to Wyoming or something like that too. Because like he when he's not on tour, like he almost like goes out to his ranch and detaches himself from like the LA scene, which I think is probably like you said. I mean, it's a different animal out there, so you probably kind of have to at some level.
Yeah, I think you have to. Yeah, and there's a bunch of sober people out there because everyone has that story. But yeah, I mean, he's an evil genius in the fact that like. He's Stevie Ray Vaughan. He is Jimi Hendrix. But what he did was, we had a bass player named Chris Haggerty, and Haggerty he was telling me the story when Mayer was coming up in the early, like late 1999, whenever like Room for Squares came out. They were playing a small club, like it only held like 200 people. And, Haggerty, my old bass player, was working the door, and they sound check. And Mayer's just doing nothing but Stevie Ray Vaughan songs, nothing but Hendrix. He's crushing it. He's not doing like, my body is wonderland. He's not doing that. He's like digging into like, the blues, and it's dirty. And Haggerty's like, this is bad ass, man. Everyone said he was like some like pop joke guy. What is this? Like, there's no, because he's like, it's already pre-sold out, and it's like all 18-year-old chicks. So he's like, how are 18-year-old chicks into this like badass shit? I don't get it. So Haggerty calls all his friends up, and he's like, dude, you gotta get down here. It's like the next Stevie Ray Vaughan's down. And so like Haggerty said he gets like, 7 or 8 people in the door that are like his best friends that he respects as musicians. And Mayer gets up there and just does the whole Room for Squares, like, my body is like the dumbest pop shit you've ever heard, And they're all looking at Haggerty going, dude, this is a joke. This is a fucking joke. You invited us down for this bullshit. And so like, I think he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. He was John Mayer's an evil genius.
His music, I tell the guys all the time, I was like, his music at the beginning and his music when it became are two completely different things. So it was like, if your impression of John Mayer is Your Body is a Wonderland, like you really don't know the artist as a whole. Because his last like 4 records or whatever have had some like fantastic bouts of songwriting on there, and then also like you said, the dude can just play a guitar like unmatched by can only be matched by a few people. And it's just something that you have to almost give a disclaimer when you tell your friends. You're like, did you listen to the new John Mayer? But it's not Your Body is a Wonderland.
Yeah, it's not Your Body is a Wonderland. No, I get that. I understand why they give it. I mean, it's not for everybody. And like, I don't I have like 4 or 5 John Mayer songs I like, and that's really, sometimes it gets a little too out there for me, but I get it. I get why people like it. And I think the guy really is like one of the, geniuses of our time. He reminds me of like if Jason Isbell was like yacht rock,
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to describe his most recent record is like yacht rock. But
yeah, it's just
You mentioned this earlier, and I was gonna say like you're probably one of my favorite Twitter follows from the Texas scene, and you were mentioning like social media, like the good and the bad of that. Like, how has Twitter, I guess, either helped or also sometimes been an annoyance to like your career?
In the beginning, it was a big annoyance because I was just getting shitted on by being so open all the time. I mean, I had haters I was fighting off every day. Now I haven't had a hater tweet in like 2 years. I can't wait to get one because I just clown the shit out of them. And it's like, it's just hilarious. So it's kind of, they just know not to poke the bear, because I was like, I'm just waiting for it because I just own up to it. Someone can like someone can bring up something, dumb I did in the past, and I just totally own it and then flip it on them, and then they immediately delete it. And so back in the day, I think now with social media, it's all about compassion and like being funny and like understanding. And like, I've been talking about mental health for the past year because I did suffer from depression. I did suffer from anxiety, and I've been openly talk about it, where most men don't want to talk about it. And people in Texas country don't want to talk about it. A lot of people in our scene, half of them are scared of me because they know that I will talk about anything, where they can't. Like I said, I'll never mention any names, but they can't go on social media and say they have suffered from depression. Their agent and manager would call them and try to put them in the program. And people and my fans think it's hilarious and they love it. They're so open about it. And I've helped probably 10 or 12 people not commit suicide in the last year and a half. Wow. I've given people my number at 3 a.m. and they've called me and I've talked them off the ledge, man. I've helped people that are suffering from depression. I've helped people with anxiety. Twitter and social media has really helped a lot of people. And because people always thought, well, Rich lives a really great life. He doesn't have depression, doesn't have anxiety. And it's like, I really don't. I like live a normal life and I'm just like you, man. And I just have a fun job. I get to go up and play music and travel and see cool stuff, but I'm the same as you, man. And I think social media, I think really has just like helped my career in the last year, being so open and honest. And I've seen a big jump in followers and I've seen a lot of interaction. And it's helped my songwriting. It's helped everything. So I think it's been, in the beginning it was shaky, but now it's a lot of fun. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twitter can be a cesspool, but it was way worse at the beginning in a lot of ways.
Oh God. I don't think anyone else knew. There's a lot of like shit that I tweeted in the beginning that was a total jack. I thought it was a joke. I thought Twitter was just a joke. I thought Twitter was a bathroom wall at a truck stop.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
Well, it's you and the rest of us in America. We all thought that. That's what it was in the early days. And
then it's like someone brings it up. You're like, oh, in 2014, you drew a giant penis that said, like, go fuck yourself. You're like, oh my God. Did I do that? That was 2014. I'm so sorry.
Everybody loves a good dick joke, though. They're funny.
No, yeah. I mean, you're right about that, because like it happens to, especially when people get a little bit famous, like people love to go through their old tweets. And I don't understand the motivation of the folks that go out there and want to search people's tweets just to ruin their lives. Because my thing is, like, who hasn't said something stupid at some point in their lives when they were young? Because like everybody's guilty of that. It's just some people had made the mistake of clicking publish on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh man, when I was like drunk, my mom was like my Twitter secretary. She'd call me at 1 a.m. and she's like, delete that right now. Like I'd be at a bar in LA and I would just tweet out like, I want to fuck doggy style tonight. Like I would tweet that. And my mom would just call me, she's like, delete that right now. Your grandma follows you on Twitter. I'm like, Mom, I'm drunk. Like, I'm so sorry. I'll delete it. And like, I'm looking back, I was like, that was so stupid.
I don't know what I was.
But it was Twitter. It's just like, that's just like, that's what's on my mind. That's what I'm thinking.
It's like it removes the filter and you're just like, let me think it, let me tweet it. Yeah. We've all been there. We've all been there. So
yeah. So like, and I delete tweets like once a week because someone will like an old tweet from like 2013 and it's the dumbest shit. And I'll just delete it because I'm like, oh God. And I'll search words in my Twitter like, because it's like now I'm like, and I'll search like, did I ever use any kind of weird slur or anything? And thank God I did. I typed in like 40 different words that would cancel me. And luckily I was smart enough back then to never like say anything.
Yeah. I did the same.
Even as a joke, even as a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun. I literally just did the same thing like a year ago, just because I was like, because like you said, you may say something as a joke to somebody back 10 to 15 years ago, and it was looked at very differently back then than it would be now. And like, I think because of the age that I'm at, like I said, I'm 28. Even when I was first on social media, it was first when people were kind of coaching you not to say stuff at like when we got on social media. So I searched a whole bunch of stuff, just like you said you did. And I was clean too. I was like, I was like, I'm kind of impressed that 17-year-old me didn't say something dumb, but hey, pat myself on the back.
Yeah, I think I knew at some point had enough sense of it. But when we were touring in the van, I thought it was just a complete joke. And we would just ask fans questions that were just hilarious, not knowing that they were sexist. Not knowing that they were. I've never I grew up actually in a really kind of an urban neighborhood. So like a lot of my friends are African American and Hispanic growing up. So I had a lot of respect, and Asian too, for those cultures. So I don't think I ever got even close to touching something on that format, and I never would. It wasn't something I ever would touch.
Right.
But yeah, I think like in the van we would I treated it like a locker room, and that's like very sexist.
Yeah.
Now it's like stuff where it's like I probably would have tweeted something like, I wonder how many hot dogs can fit in a vagina, and I'll like ask that, not even knowing that like we're just fucking wondering. We're in the van, we're just like, I wonder maybe like 12. Can you like fit 12 in there? I don't know. Like it's like one of those things where like that's so sexist, that's so wrong. That's just so like not cool to do that. I never tweeted that, by the way. I'm just saying I can only imagine it was something probably that stupid. And objectifying, to women. So, it is what it is.
100%. I mean, I'm with you on that. But so Andy, Kyle, if you guys have any questions, jump in. I don't want to.
When you said that, one thing I was saying, it's like that's every guy when they're a little kid. They're like, hey man, how many Oreos can you put in your mouth? And you just do it.
Yeah. And you don't grow up. I mean, we don't. You don't grow. It's like Keith Richards said. He said, you don't grow up until you're 6 feet under. Man, you're not. I'm never going to grow up.
Oh yeah.
I'll still be like 68 years old, being like, I wonder what that looks like underneath her. It's like one of those things. You're always a kid.
Yeah,
wondering what that looks like.
Men definitely are like very, very immature throughout their whole life. Because the perfect example that happened to us recently was one of my best friends got married last year, and we went to Tampa, Florida for his bachelor party, and we had it was like maybe. What was it? Probably, Andy, it was about 10 of us or so roughly that were there.
12,
10 to 12, something like that. And we had like this really badass 3-4 bedroom loft that we were staying in with a balcony over in Ybor City. And we were sitting there, and there was like these chickens that just lived in the city. Like they just randomly, they were wild chickens, lived in the city. And
what city is this?
Tampa. It's in Ybor City.
Oh,
that part of Tampa. Yeah. So
all you say was Florida. I mean, Florida is just like every chickens live in every city in Florida.
Yeah, really. But we were sitting there, and we were just like all on the porch. Everybody was like drinking a little beer and like, watching the chickens, and the chickens just started coming across the street. And then we all kind of got to thinking with what we did next. We were like, the meme where it's like all the women are like, I bet they're out trying to cheat right now. And then it shows what the guys are actually doing. It's really stupid. We were taking Doritos and throwing it down to the chickens, and then pouring beer down on the ground so they could have beer and Doritos. And I was like, if everyone's wives could see them right now, they would think we're the biggest idiots in the world. But we were entertained for like 20 minutes.
No, that's so true, man. I think I did have to delete a tweet of me feeding a seagull a cracker with hot sauce on it just to see what it did.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like canceled by PETA. It would have been like, that's torture. I was like, it's not gonna kill the seagull. He's just I just want to see like he reacts like a human reacts. Like he's gonna eat it and be like, what the fuck was that? And I think the seagull did. He was just like, you could see him just make a face. Yeah.
He shit all over somebody's car.
Yeah.
very shortly after.
Yeah, the seagull runs forever. Like,
he just tore somebody's car up.
But it was a nice like mixture of like just pink just down someone's like windshield.
They probably just washed their car too.
Yeah, they just it's beautiful. See, I made someone's day.
It's always the car that first gets washed too. That's the one that gets hit.
Oh man, I got the what's it called? Mr. Car Wash is in Houston. Job in Mr. Car Wash there.
Not that I'm aware of.
They have a program, and I think that they're going to lose money on this deal. It's like $19.99, all you can wash for like a month, and it's an automatic thing. It's real nice and like shines a tire. I go through every single day because I'm like, why not? It's like next to my house. So I was like, pop in. And yesterday, like it was raining, and I went through it, and the guy's like, "Really, man?" And I was like, "Well, I don't want to rain on my car. And it's supposed to stop raining soon. So, I mean, I paid for it. So I'm averaging like 30 cents a car wash, but it's like, I don't even know how we got on this. Oh yeah. The bird show in the car. It's like so convenient now because like, if I like walk out of the HEB or the grocery store and I see like one little thing on the car, I'm like, whoop, right to the car wash. It's like, it's like, dude, we're back in the day. Like, you remember back in the day, like you saved up money for the car wash. You went to the car wash like once a month. Like your car got really dirty, but then before you went on a date, you went to the car wash, or before you like went to like a family reunion, you took it to the car wash, Yep. And now they're offering these like all you can eat Spotify services for everything. It's like, I'll fucking go to the car wash every goddamn day. I don't give a shit.
Hell yeah, it's very convenient.
we just got one in my little podunk town I live in, and it has a subscription service like that.
Yeah.
So they actually had to change it right after they opened because people would just go through it and then they go get right back in it. They just keep riding. Just keep riding.
They were like, I see a spot. It didn't get it all the way.
Yeah.
It's like,
So they changed it to you can only go through once a day, and then people outsmarted them again. So that your subscription goes by your license plate number, because they would go through it on their car and then they'd give the card to their wife or whatever, and then she would go through it on her car, and they're only paying for one car. So they were just tearing them up.
Yeah.
I remember when we first got that too. The first month was free, and I remember everybody's like, "I'm going every day. I'm only going to keep it for a month, but I'm going every day for this month."
Right? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's. I know that's where the music industry's gone. I mean, this is supposed to be a music podcast, so we can like dive into Spotify, but it's just like we used to make $2,000-$3,000 a month selling iTunes singles, and now we're lucky enough to trickle in $400 or $500. And that's like with, like you don't make $500 until you get about 150,000 streams.
Really?
Oh wow,
it's insane. I mean, like, you know how many streams that is? And so it's like I can't wait for the all you can eat steak at a restaurant for $19.99 a month. I'm just gonna go every single day.
Lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner. Yeah, like until I get colon cancer, I'm just gonna be like, I'm not motherfucker. I paid on putting y'all out of business.
Oh, I would have my own show on TLC. I'd be the 1,000-pound brother to the 1,000-pound sisters.
That's fine, man. We'll get you like a pimped out rascal scooter. I'll probably be in the rascal next to you. Like,
Rich, we're going to the steakhouse again.
I'd be like, whatever, man. Whatever.
Hey, we paid for it.
I'm getting them. Yeah.
So you mentioned Spotify. That's something that I always do like to ask artists, especially like when it's artists that are kind of more in the independent space. Like, what is because I get different opinions from different artists every time I talk to them. What is like your opinion on Spotify? Like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it kind of a mixed bag?
No, I like it now actually, because it's like a necessary evil. Like when I check my stats every day, it'll say like, 1,200 new people listen to you. Where back in the day, like if you went to iTunes to buy my music, you heard it on the radio or you heard it in your buddy's car, and then you went and bought it. Now it's like, you see, the thing that we're always going to have control over is price of a ticket. And we make a lot of money doing that. Now you can. So I think that like, I'm totally fine with it. I basically now record records as like a business card. And so when I invest that money, I don't expect to really get it back anymore. I just want Spotify to send it on the release radar on the, if you turn on Josh Abbott radio, you're going to hear Rich O'Toole. If you're turning on Bart Crow radio, you're going to hear Rich O'Toole. Awesome. That shit didn't happen back in the day. So like now when you hear that and you're like, okay, let's go see Rich in concert now. It's like, well, it's $15 at the door.
Right.
So if it's like, I'm getting ripped off on Spotify on the back end, but if I can put 800 people in a venue at $15, that's $12,000.
Yeah.
So now I'm not worried about making money on records. I'm worried about getting people to buy a T-shirt and to buy a ticket, and I can always control that. There's not a company that's going to be able to control that.
Yeah.
So I'm, it's like kind of, it's kind of like if it's like. It's like a drug dealer. Like if you could stream weed just one time, and then you're like, I kind of want to go see weed in person. Be like, all right, here, smoke it all you want, man. But when you want to see it in person, it's going to cost a shit ton of money.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying is like we're now getting back Spotify and getting back not saying getting back the fan, because the fans are on our side, but now it's like, look, you're only paying $10 a month to listen to all you can eat Rich O'Toole. But when you do come to concert, you're going to drop 30 on a shirt. You're going to drop 20 at the door. And that's where we're going to break even together on this.
Yeah.
And that's what musicians are figuring out, you know?
Yeah, that's generally what I've heard from people too. It's kind of a double-edged sword, like you said, because like the payout isn't as much as like iTunes or especially physical copy sales, but the accessibility is there. And I know like on our end, like as music consumers, like I'm a big fan of it just because of me being in North Carolina. I never would have discovered like your music as easily, or like a lot of the people in the Texas and Oklahoma, like the Red Dirt scene, as easily as I did when streaming kind of became a thing. And then like we started this podcast as a result, where we get to have like cool conversations with folks like you. So it's like, it's been kind of like a good thing for us too, but it's like at the same time, like I do lament the fact that the payout is so small, because it's like Spotify is like literally a fraction of a penny for a stream.
Yeah, it's for every 296 streams, you make $1. And so there was a thing too. I remember like being on the phone with Spotify because they're adding us to a playlist, and the guy was like, "Do you have 5 iPhones running at your house?" And I was like, "Yeah. Each iPhone's making $48 a month for me right now."
Yep,
it's just playing Rich O'Toole 24 hours a day. And and the guy's like, "It's not illegal because you own the masters and it's your music." And it's really playing the song in full. It's just like, that one iPhone's going to play,
it's pretty clever.
485 Rich O'Toole songs a day. And I stopped doing that because I was like, that's just, I would never want to cheat the numbers. Like I want to go to my Spotify and be like, okay, we're at, 50,000 monthly listeners this month. And that's all organic and it's all real listeners. It's not fucking, 10,000 aren't coming from my iPhone. So we know when we play Houston, we have this many listeners. We know when we play Chicago, we have this many listeners. So I stopped doing that in general. Sorry, my phone's on 10%. I don't know. I should have charged it, but we got plenty of time. So I just stopped doing that, but it's funny. I mean, I was telling them, I was like, I can go to India, rent a warehouse, get 10,000 iPhones and just retire, because I can just, I think that would be like $400,000 a year if I had 10,000 iPhones doing that.
Wow.
But I mean, and that's one thing you could, and people were doing that, and you can do that, where I could, because I own the masters to everything that I put out. So I literally could, and I have 7 albums out. I literally can play Rich O'Toole 24 hours a day, and it wouldn't play the same song twice. So every judge that they sued me would go, well, he's a weird guy. He wants to hear his song on 10,000 iPods at one time in a warehouse, and you can't control that.
Right.
He's paying a subscription service, and you could do that. And I mean, I guess if all else failed, I could just stream my own shit and collect the royalty check from them. It's basically like data mining. It's like cryptocurrency for streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to do that, man. I mean, I want to know the numbers at all time, and I want the numbers to be real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah.
Do the locations where you mentioned, like, we know how many people are listening in Houston, we know how many people are listening in, say, like Birmingham. Does that kind of help you be able to determine like what size venue you could play in a particular location?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like it's up. The cool thing about Spotify is on the artist app that I have, it's by the second. I can see who's listening to my music right now, and it'll tell me, like, right now, it'll probably say, I could guess it'd be, say, 14 people are listening right now, like 3 in Chicago, 2 in Austin, 8 in Dallas, 4 in Houston. And then it'll say that, in the last 28 days, you had 78,000 streams and, 15,000 were in Houston. So then we say, all right, let's just tour those cities, and so when we get a good offer in like Birmingham, Alabama for good money, I'll email the agent and promoter back and said, I'm sorry, we just can't, our numbers don't add up on Spotify. We can't come in there yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so they save money. I save money. It's embarrassing when you show up to Birmingham and there's, 30 people in the front row and the venue's pissed, our agent's pissed. It's like, it's like you go where people are actually listening to it now. So that's another tool that like Spotify gave the artists, is you can see exactly where people are at. And even overseas, like we are, one of our biggest like following overseas is I think like Finland. So it's like, I think, there's a city in Finland where there's like, 6,000 monthly listeners. And it's like, okay, that one city where they're at, let's book a tour around that and let's go over there and see what we do.
Yeah.
So it's a really good tool for touring and those things, I think.
So you're telling us that the best way to get Rich O'Toole to play in Raleigh is to get all of our friends to become big Rich O'Toole fans and play it.
Yes, please.
Then you'll be here.
Yeah. I'll break even, man. I mean, I'll book. Tell me where to book, and I'll come out there and do an acoustic show, and we could even like do a country and cold cold cans like show. We can even call it that, like country and cold fans meet and greet. And maybe if 40 people show up the first time, then we build on that. People buy merch, and then the second time we do it, 80, and the third time we do it, 120. There's a way to do that, and especially having guys like y'all that would actually come out and tell people. Like, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind building a market if I know that there's a market there.
Yeah.
And this is my job. I mean, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah. Hey, man, that would be badass. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, let's do it. I'll talk to Amy and Chris in the morning and be like, hey, get me something out there. And it might be just a door deal, but hey, you never know.
Yeah.
I got some airline miles. I mean,
built up a year and a half of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like, fuck it.
So when should, if it's public knowledge, if not, you don't have to answer, but I know you said you have a new single coming out. When could we expect like maybe a new full length album?
Yeah, the full length album's pretty much written. I just need to go in the studio and record it. And then it takes about 2 weeks to really get the vocal done the way I like to do it. And then it takes about 2 weeks to mix it. Then it takes about a week to master it. So I'm hoping for late summer. I'm thinking it's going to be probably in the fall though, like a September release. If not, it'll get pushed to 2023. If our single is doing really well that we release in May. Low Hanging Fruit's kind of stalled out at like 10, 11,000 streams. I don't know why that song didn't go way more viral than it was. I think it's just people are with the war and there's so much distraction right now that it's hard to get anyone's attention.
Right.
It's hard to tweet out like, hey guys, go listen to Hanging Fruit when like Russia's killing Ukrainians, It's like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I saw like, and I don't mean this to make light of any serious events that are going on, but I saw somebody say today, and it's very true. I'm about tired of having historic moments go on back to back to back.
Yeah,
it's like every day.
Between the pandemic, now this, like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like pray for France. By the way, here's my new single. The next day, it's like pray for this school shooting. By the way, here's my new single. I mean, you just look like a fucking asshole. And I think that's what had a lot to do with my mental health was I just couldn't read that shit anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, remember back in the day, there was a school shooting once a year.
Yeah.
There was a plane crash once a year. There was a war once a year. The rest, it was like, shit, there was car accidents. I mean, you had someone you knew died, once every 3 months or something. Now it's like every fucking hour. I mean, it's like you get on Twitter, it's insane. I mean, it's just like, I don't want to go outside. Is it even safe to go outside? Like,
yeah. Sometimes I wonder.
I think about it. No wonder I was drinking so much. I was just wanting to be fucking numb. Yeah.
Hey, look, man, I'm not a therapist, but one of the best things I ever did was I kind of relapsed on it, but I nuked social media for quite a few months. Logan calls me out on it because I still do get on Instagram occasionally.
Yeah, he tells me he's never on social media, but then when I get on Instagram, he's active every single time, and I'm like, dude, you're full of shit.
He calls me out on it. I did nuke my Twitter though. I still get on it, but like I nuked a lot of the stuff I follow.
Yeah,
it feels so much better.
I thought about doing that too, Kyle, but it was a thing where like when our engagement's down, our numbers are down.
Yeah.
When our numbers are down, then our agent and manager are not.
Just make a burner account.
As aggressive, and it's like, fuck.
Just make a burner account and look at the stuff.
I hired someone, Kyle, to do it, and they just suck at it. Like, I'm really talented at it. So it's like, when I saw them, hey, guys, come see us at Fort Worth. Here's our new single. Everyone's like, nah. But if I tweet out, I'm like, oh, I want to eat a taco off a butt. People are like, fuck yeah. Oh, we're definitely coming to the show now. It's like, all right, look, guys, I got to teach y'all how to be edgy.
Yeah,
you got to flip that. Yeah, I get that.
a lot of the people that get hired to do that stuff are truly awful at it because like my day job, I work in marketing. So it's like we see a lot of people that they call themselves social media managers, and they are just truly awful at their job. They're so boring. There's no personality in it. And people can tell when it's someone else running the account very easily because of how people do it.
Right. And I mean, that's the thing is like, I think that's why we have pretty decent engagement is people are like, they know it's me behind the deal,
Yeah.
And no one in Texas country, they'll hire people to do it. You're not seeing Randy or anybody tweet out personal shit.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, then on the flip side, there's Co Wetzel, and it's 100% him.
Oh, that's 100% him. Yeah. And that's just the best. That's the best people watching there is. I mean, that guy gives zero fucks, and that's kind of why he got to where he's at.
I know, like he's been on Private Jet recently with Ric Flair, and now he's playing shows with Snoop Dogg. I'm just like, dude, he's popped off really fast.
He's living the dream, man. I mean, that's just amazing. And I think he's good at managing it. I hope he's good at managing. I don't want to see anything bad happen to him. Like those guys drink a lot. Those guys fucking party a lot, and it just takes sometimes a wrong move to do, bring somebody the wrong way or something. But I think they have it under control, and I'm a giant fan, man. I love that he shook up Texas country. It was getting boring for a while.
Yeah.
There was only so much you could listen to where it was like same song, same this. Here's my new single. Here's this. And here's Co Wetzel. It's like, I want to do cocaine off someone's ass. It's like, fuck yeah. Texas country. Holy shit, man. Let's get that going on. Let's fucking warm it up.
His music videos just are phenomenal. I mean, yeah, they look like they don't cost a lot of money, but they're just funny as hell. Like, just
that's all you need, though.
Yeah, it's
great.
He had one. Is it Cold and Alone? The one he's in the
camper,
desert?
Yeah.
RV,
yeah. It's just out there with rubber ducky floaties, fucking goofballing out in the middle of a desert.
Well, I think that's kind of how it all started. I mean, looking back on it, when this first record came out, it was talking about getting a DWI at Taco Bell, which we could all relate to probably. It was him in a fucking above ground pool drinking beer. We can all relate to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's why he got the following he did, is because people were so tired of the same Texas country record. Dude in a cowboy hat by a fence, like, oh, Texas steaks, boom. It's like people were just like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna listen to it because it's Texas country. It's I get it. Hell yeah, I like beer, whatever. Me and Kevin Fowler are buddies, and like he's a fucking genius. But people are doing the same shit. Everyone was doing the same thing. I think he said, fuck it. He was working construction. Or he was working for the city, fucking filling potholes, ripping cigs. And he's like, I'm just going to fucking come out with a great record that talks about real life. And the album cover is going to be fucking real life. And I don't know if people are going to like it or not. Well, guess what? It worked.
Yeah, he carved out.
And that's kind of what you got to do is you got to put yourself out there. And that's what I kind of did this year is like, all right, embarrassing or not, I'm gonna talk real shit. I'm gonna get on social media and say, look, I'm not okay. I'm suffering depression. I'm really suffering from a lot of alcoholism. I'm fucking living a real life. And I think that's like something that every artist needs to do, because if you're not transparent, you're just fake, man. At this day and age, you have access to being real as possible, and people have real problems, and they want to listen to people, and they want to know those problems are real. They don't want your published tweeting for you and being like, so-and-so is having a great day. It's like, shut the fuck up. No, they're not.
Yeah. No,
everyone has a bad day. I have
100%.
4 things bad that happen to me a day, but also 5, 6 great things happen to me today.
Yep. Yeah, people can tell authenticity pretty easily, and the authenticity pays off. Like, I know I appreciate it as like a music fan. So
yeah.
So before we get ready to wrap up, Andy, Kyle, do you have any like we normally do at the end when we have a guest? Y'all have any lightning round questions that we could pop off real quick?
Yeah, I think I'm at like 4%. I should have plugged my phone in. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
We'll knock this out. If it goes black, just cut the deal and
we'll
figure it out.
That'll work. All right, we'll roll through it quick. All right, Andy, you start.
Is what Taco Bell sells actually considered tacos?
No. what Taco Bell is some kind of weird carnival food that is fucking amazing.
All right.
I guess it is tacos and it is Mexican food, but it's just like I consider it carnival food. Like I fucking love it. I really do love Taco Bell, but it's not a real taco. It's not real Mexican food. It is from outer space. I love it.
Agree.
My question is there a song that if you're by yourself in your car going somewhere, you will rock out to, but you don't want your buddies to know you rock out to it? Or you wouldn't?
One time when I was drunk with, I dated this girl named Tarish who was, I still am madly in love with her. We spent COVID together and we'd go and play golf every day. And one time we were so fucking drunk that we played all 18 holes with Don Henley's Boys of Summer on repeat.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay.
So you can imagine that like a one hole of golf was 45 minutes. We played 4 hours. We played that song close to 300 to 400 times and it never fucking got old.
Very nice.
And I'm just blackout drunk on the golf cart like, she's got her Ray-Bans on. No.
Hell yeah.
But if someone would have saw that, they'd have been like, that guy's insane. Yeah.
Logan?
Yeah, so mine's kind of, now that you mentioned golf, I'm changing mine. What is like, are you like into golf a lot?
I play recreational. Like I love it. It's fun.
So
I'm decent at it. I shoot like an 88, 89.
Damn,
Oh,
better
nice.
than me.
Yeah, that's like a career day for me. But
Yeah.
So if you could play one golf course, what would it be?
I played Pebble Beach with my dad in 2018, and that was absolutely incredible. I actually got an eagle on 6, which was pure luck. Yeah, but that's like my tip top. It would probably be Brandon Dunes. I got to play the Wisconsin Monmouth course, which was amazing. Probably one of the New York courses or one of the like Spyglass, California or Northwest courses like Brandon Dunes. Or probably, the Waste Management course in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, man. I love seeing those people throw all those beer on that thing. I think golf is like getting it back into like Billy Madison land is like so.
Yep.
Not Billy Madison, but Billy Madison. Yeah, I fucking love that for golf.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be probably one of those courses.
Yeah. I can agree with that. The waste management thing is one of my favorite. If people get so rowdy on that hole, and it's like I think it's good for golf because I'm one of the younger, obnoxious, love to play loud music while I'm golfing. But I know the old guys they can't stand it.
Yeah.
But they're old.
Yeah,
Yeah, golf's got young stars, and it needs like a little bit of a kick in the pants sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
but
and they're doing that. They're doing that.
Yeah, they're embracing it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I'm happy they are. Unlike baseball, who doesn't want to embrace anything fun.
yeah. But well, man, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Man, let me know when you release it. Just send me a DM, and I'll hustle it on my end. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes,
man. You're
Do whatever
awesome
you want with
interview.
it. And hey, let's send me a couple. DM me a couple venues in Raleigh, and I'll have our agent put it on the books. And like I said, I'll fly out, and we'll try to see if we can build a crowd out there, man. I appreciate it,
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, we appreciate it. We're big fans, and thank you again, man.
Thank you, man. Look forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Later, buddy.
See you soon.
Well, for this episode of Country and Cold Cans, I'm Logan, sitting here with Kyle, Trucker, Andy, and that was Rich O'Toole. See you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4.